Relax it, will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it yet, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsies, whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsies.
I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide.
You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay.
It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsies.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo!
Wait.
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing overhead. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard, but for love, before it's too hard. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it again at another day of 100 Days of Rootkit. Our chill Q&A day. Quick chill Q&A day. Alright, we're taking a breather. We're relaxing. We're enjoying ourselves. Alright, sipping on maybe a beer or something. Alright, and we chilling out. It's time to just focus on what we've already learned, all right? Nothing new. Just focusing on what we learned, taking a breather, experimenting, playing around a little bit, and making sure we're nailing down all of these items here. So before moving on further, though, if you didn't know, we're Rootkit, a non-profit based here in the US of A. We're doing this thing called 100 Days of Rootkit, where we're going to be teaching you for 100 days straight how to become a developer and get our comp sci degree, which is a complete replacement for a computer science degree. Don't waste your money going to college and spending $100,000 plus. All right, absolutely insane. You don't need to do it, especially for the computer science space. And don't go to a boot camp either. We're the most superior comparison to a boot camp out there, period. There's literally nothing that comes avidly even close. And the other ones are just so goddamn expensive. They're gonna be about $20,000. Don't waste your money on that too. We're right here. We're teaching. We're chilling. All right. So let's go. On top of all this free stuff we're doing, if you go over to our blog, we have our week 7 giveaway live right now. You're going to go over there and enter to win whatever this item may be. Who knows? It's a mystery. There's only one way to find out. You got to win it. Alrighty. And then at the end of today, we will be pulling our week 6 winner. So make sure you stick around for that. Additionally, if you like what we're doing, because doing stuff for free is not cheap, let's be your tax haven, alright? We're a registered non-profit here in the US of A. You can get all those delicious tax credits, alright? Because we all need some tax credits. We gotta keep the gov off our money. No, dirty, grubby little hands, alright? They never do anything good with it anyways. Trust me, I know. I worked for the gov for many, many years. They completely waste your cash, all right? I don't know if you know, but everyone gets budgets, and it's a use or lose, and everyone uses the shit out of them, whether they need to or not. Man, the amount of paper, ink, and pens you can buy, extra TVs with a couple $10,000 that's just laying around because you got to use it so you can get the same amount next year. Let me tell you, it's really, really nice for them, at least. All right. Terrible for everyone else. All right. Depending on how much you donate to us, stickers. You can get some stickers. Also, you could unlock this amazing collab t-shirt here that I have. And we got our epic t-shirt. Or sorry, not t-shirt, sweater. Additionally, all donations are being matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000. All right. So make sure you donate, because it's like you're donating twice as much. Additionally, we have pillars we're hidden along the way, like teaching for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and the one we don't really need to get to because no one wants to see it anyways, and that's shaving my beard. All right, no one wants to see that. All right, sweet. Let me check where's the chat at? I lost the chat. Chat, where are you? There we go. There's Twitch chat. There's YouTube chat. Oh, I'm gonna mute that. What's up, you guys? All right, you know the drill. Chill Q&A day. We're just chilling. You guys ask questions. You guys are the drivers today. We're doing whatever you guys want. I saw some of your guys' submissions on the 100 Days of Rootkit channel. Let me see here. Where is I'm so blind right now. And they're looking good. None of them are complete, which I wish they were complete, you guys. Come on. But they're very good starts. And it's all about trying to figure it through. I like for Cookie and Milk's submission, he has the one hard-coded word, which is more ideal when you're trying to figure things out, all right, than having the random logic going on, because it makes it harder to test things. So very smart there, very smart there. Let me see. I think there's a question here. So when writing lines of code, how do you know which logic comes first? For example, math, there's PEMDAS to make sure you know what order of operations come before what. But when typing code, it won't work because of the order of the logic. How do we know which logic comes before the other? Right to left. Right to left. Yeah, right to left. So when you're programming away, everything by default will be from top down, just like you read your own book. All right, just like you read your own book, it's going to be from top down, left to right. All right, left to right. There's no extra. Usually, there's no extra craziness that goes on. If you want to force something on the same line to happen before something else, then you can use parentheses. All right, then you can use parentheses. But that's the general rule. All right, what other questions do you guys got? I know you guys gotta have more questions, all right? No one turned in fully done complete code. It means there has to be some questions. Yeah, that what I answered will work for Python and pretty much every single programming language. It's always going to be top to bottom, left to right. Let me see if I can. Yeah, top to bottom, left to right. So you're going to read from here, and it's going to go over. And if you want something to compute first, you got to use parentheses. But when it's on the same line, it's going to be left to right. The only other variation would be, if you're using parentheses, it's going to be what's innermost to the parentheses first that's going to happen. So if I have, parentheses 1 plus 1 or 1 or 11, I guess now. 11 plus 1 is less than 0 is greater than 5. So this will happen first because it's on the left side. All right, this will happen first because it's on the left side. Depending on what programming language you're in, it will run this and do it will predetermine what this is, and it will just end the logic right here, and not even go a step further. If this is not true, that doesn't happen in Python. Python, at least from my experience, Python will execute everything in this line, regardless of what the first part was. So this will execute, then it will go over to the other side of the and. It sees that this is what needs to execute first, but there's parentheses, so it's going to go inside the first parentheses because the highest order of parentheses must be executed first. Then this one will be executed next. Then this one will be executed next. That makes sense? How do we know what to put first is what I'm asking. Great question. Logic. Logic is your answer. You got to think about it because it always depends. It always depends on what you're doing and how you're going about it. And that comes into the logic component. So the only way to get better and better at that is with practice. Because again, go to Home Depot, you can see, or whatever hardware store is near you, you can see all of the professional carpentry tools. They're there. It doesn't mean you can just immediately go in there, see all the tools, get a rundown on each one of them, what they do, and then open up a house construction business next day and build houses. That it doesn't work that way. Same thing with programming. I've taught you guys the tools, but just because you know the tools doesn't mean you're experienced enough to go build a house. The only way you can learn that is by building things. You gotta build things and keep building up to being able to make houses. And then once you make your first house, it's super, super easy. And you can make 1,000 different houses. And then as you make 1,000 different houses, you can start experimenting with variations, colors, maybe making mansions instead. But there's no other way than doing it. There's no shortcuts. There's no hacks to becoming a pro dev. It's easy to learn the base languages. Anyone can do it at any age. It's practice what will determine whether you're going to pass or not of the exam, right? And it takes different people different amounts of times, all right, to pick everything up and be able to just go at it and program things. I take quite some time for things. Other people will do it 50 times faster than me. That's fine. It's just about how well you pick things up. So where you put your logic, you just gotta learn that. You gotta experiment. You gotta see. I'll be teaching you guys and telling you guys as we go through this where I'm gonna be putting everything and how I'm gonna be putting stuff and why I'm going to be putting things. But again, it's practice. That's why I'm having you guys rebuild it from scratch. Can you go over the masking logic really, really quick? Yes. The masking logic is a pro gamer move. All right. It is not. I am doing that knowing that it is very much a more advanced concept. All right. And introducing you guys because it's just showing some of the computer science oriented logic that you can create. This is literally a high-end pro gamer move. The only time you see stuff usually like this in masking is going to be in high-end software. So you guys are doing it very, very early on. Mostly so I can get you guys exposed to, you know, even though these things sound very fancy, at the end of the day, they're relatively easy to do. Our mask per se here only takes 1, 2, 3, 4 extra lines, and then if you do our tracking, I guess you can add that. So there's only a couple extra lines of code to implement, but it's extremely useful. Additionally, if you want an extra challenge for way later on, way later on, if you are into our AI aimbot and you want to mess with it more, the logic does not include a mask on there. So it builds basically a little square and will look at everything in that square. But some video games, particularly if they're third person, will have your gun or your hand inside of that square, which will mess up the logic. So the way you can fix that is using a mask. So that would be another pro gamer move to do, is try to use the AI aimbot with the mask. So let's go ahead and see here real quick. So the mask, again, let me pull up Paint here. Let's get a new file. So a mask is just like a mask in real life. All right, think of it as a mask in real life. Try to relate anytime you can any of these concepts to things in real life, and they're usually named after things in real life. So a mask, if this is your face, all right, you got a very big round fat face, all right. Let's see here. You got your eyes. Look at those soulless eyes. Oh, we gotta do a soulless smile too. There we go. Oh man, we are. Oh yeah. Woo-wee. Holy crap! You get the face of nightmares, or the face only a mother can love. All right, this mask. I mean, this face has no mask right now, so it's kind of scary. I would like this face to have a mask on, so I wouldn't have to look at it. Look at its eyes. Its soulless little eye. Maybe is it gonna be worse if I do? I guess it makes it a little better. A mask would save us from looking at this face here. All right, but a mask can cover various amounts of the face. It could cover the. Let me see if. Let's bring this in and let's fill it solid. We need this color to be this. So it could cover the mouth. It could cover a single eye. It could cover the other eye. It could cover the top part of the head. It could cover the bottom. It can cover literally whatever we want the mask to cover and hide things from our view. By default, in our game, our word per se is this face, and we're covering the whole entire thing. Right? We're covering the whole entire thing. And only when someone guesses the correct character will we then reveal. I don't really have a good way to invert on this, but we'll reveal, you know, whatever they guessed. So maybe they guessed that eye, so we'll reveal just the eye there. And it will just continue moving on forward that way. So if I remake this and let's do our drawing here. So if we have a word, let's say like, oops, this needs to be brush. Hope. All right, hope. The word hope. Very simple word. We want people to guess this word. We can use mask logic to help us out. Now, this again is not the only way you can go about it. But this is the most straightforward, I think, way to accomplish this task. You can make a mask, which we're using true and falses. You could use zeros and ones, or you could use like literally anything else, as long as there's just two different variations of it. You can use 1 or 0 through 100 if you wanted, maybe, or 0 through 255 if you wanted. If it was like more of a picture, like transparency mask, I don't know. We're using just trues and falses. So upon choosing our word, we need to make a companion array. All right, an array can be a list or a string. They would both work, because they are both treated exactly the same in the back end of programming, right? And we already saw that when we did our slices and stuff. So we know that this is just going to be a binary system for us. It's just going to be a true or false. We're going to either show the character or we're going to show underscores. There's only two options for us, all right? So since there's only two options and we've decided there are only going to be two options for this game, we can use true and falses because they're very efficient. They're built into the operating system. Sorry, they're built in the programming language, and they're really fast for the operating system. So in Python, we need to make a list, whether you use an actual list or a string, it doesn't matter, of 4 items. And we chose it to be all falses by default. You could invert this logic and have it so they're all trues by default, as long as you're using the true or the false to dictate what is printing the underscores and what will print the characters. It doesn't matter. As long as it's there, as long as the logic is there, it's fine. So we're synchronizing this array. All right, we're making it so it's just as, it conveniently is just as long as this other word. It would be the same or the equivalent of me. I got some props here. It'd be the equivalent of me having this pen and this pen, or this pen and this pencil. All right. Originally, I had this pen, or let's do this the other way. Originally, I had this pencil. All right. This pencil is like our word hope, and by default, I'm making a little game in real life where I don't want to show you what this item is. I want you to guess what this item is. So by default, I'm going to find something that is exactly the same size as this pencil and cover it up. All right. This pencil's a little bit longer, so not a very good item for me to choose. I should be choosing something else. This pen would be our array, our mask, because it's hiding. It's masking this pencil behind it. All right. And it needs to be the same size as the pencil to hide it. We don't want it longer, because if it's longer than the pencil, it would still hide it, but we would be confusing our users. Because if there was an extra item on our mask here, that might show up as an underscore, and our word is only 4 characters long, not 5, and we don't want to confuse the user. We don't want to torture them. This isn't supposed to be a really, really hard game. It's just supposed to be a simple guessing game. All right. The other equivalent would be using, the pencil and then a piece of paper, and I would cut this piece of paper just large enough to cover the pencil, and then as you guess things correctly, I'd cut holes into the paper that I'm using to mask the pencil. That kind of makes sense? Come on. So again, that's what this right here is for. We have a blank list, right? We have a blank list. There's absolutely nothing in this by default. It's completely empty. And we are making it filled, we're filling it with falses for every character that's in our selected word here, right? For every character. So that way they are the same size. When I say they're synchronized with each other, it's not because there's actual synchronization. We're forcing them to be synchronized with each other because we're making them the same length, and we're also using enumerate here to help us keep things synchronized. But by default, like naturally how they sit, they're not synchronized. It's like this pencil and this pen. They have absolutely no correlation to each other. They could be on other sides of the room, other sides of the globe. I might not even own the pen. I might only own the pencil. There's nothing actually uniquely synchronized about them. It's the logic I do that makes them synchronized. When I'm playing this game with you, if I put the pen in front of the pencil, the pen itself is never inherently have to do anything with this pencil. But now it does, because I'm playing a game with you and I'm using the pen to hide it. That's what causes it now to be quote unquote synchronized, because it's being used together now. So the mask, so is the mask what shows as the character's underscore? So that is what's going on right here in this logic. The mask is not underscores, but the mask is what dictates whether the character will print or whether an underscore will print. That's what the mask is doing. I'll answer Kwai's question real quick. Can periods and asterisks be used interchangeably when adding new things with Git? Yes, to an extent. Like I said yesterday, I can't remember right now. There is a difference. At least I've noticed there's a difference. I don't know if there really is a difference, but I swear to God, there is a difference. Periods usually work better for me. They usually actually get everything. Asterisks don't usually get everything. I'm usually missing something. I wish I had a good example for it, but I don't. But in general, I would recommend personally periods because they've worked best for me. But you can go ahead and experiment with both and see, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So in regards to this logic, we can program this a different way. We could go about, let me copy this, alter word game.py. So we don't have to use masks or a mask here. technically, no matter what you do, it's going to be a mask in some fashion or form. Another alternative that would be more common that I would see is people would be like revealed word, and they'll do underscores. Let's do this. We're going to do that. I'm going to exit right here. And I'm going to print our revealed word. So this is another alternative you can do, is just making it a string, or you could use an array if you still wanted to and do array.append. It doesn't matter because arrays and strings are the same thing. They are the exact same thing behind the scenes. So you could do one or the other. I'm just going to use strings, so it's super straightforward here. The only thing we're losing right now is our spacing, but there's ways we can go about adding that spacing back in. This is effectively kind of the same thing. And these are still in sync with each other. But now it's just a string with underscores in it. And for our logic here below, instead of it being the mask, we can remove all this and then just always print the revealed word. But we're going to print the revealed word one item at a time. We can get rid of this enumerate. We can say revealed word char. We want to have the end equal to, I'll explain what's going on here right after that. Index not defined. That's right. We don't need this. We just do char. There we go. So we just modified the game. So instead it's using this revealed word. And what this revealed word is, like we just saw before, is it's another string that's getting these underscore characters added to it for every single character that's in our selected word. So we have a word that says process and another word that's literally all underscores. We're printing the word out here one character at a time because we want to print it with these nice little spaces in between, because I think it looks nicer that way. So I'm making it this way. You'll notice though the game is now kind of broken because when you try to guess a word, this logic will no longer work. That's fine. We can just modify that logic real quick. Instead of doing this mask stuff, if the user input is equal to the char, then instead of setting the mask equal to true, we're just going to set our revealed word based off that index of the selected word, the character that they guessed correctly. All right. And then for this, for how we win the game, we're just going to be looking at every character in the revealed word, and if the item, if it's, what do you call it? If that character is an underscore, char is equal to an underscore, then that means they didn't guess the whole word. So this should be a completely rewritten version of our game, not even using masks anymore. So if we go in here, type in P, let's see, name mask not defined. Whoops, I need to stop the other game. There we go. Let me rerun this. P, string does not support item assignment for, what do you mean doesn't review item assignment? It should 100% revealed word index equals char. All right, it doesn't like that. So easy fix. Strings and words are the exact same. So I'm just going to change this right here to an array and change this to a dot append. Fix that error because it's being a little weird and I don't want to spend time fixing it. So we'll just cheat by doing that. There we go. I type in a P and P goes here. It looks like there's a little bug for our attempts because we just incremented down one for our attempts here. So that's because the truth tracker here is not being set. Because we erased that logic. So if we end this game and rerun it, P, are you kidding me? Is this supposed to be, where else is this truth tracker at? Let me see the other game. Truth tracker false. That's what I said. Truth tracker false. Or truth. And this. Rerun it. There we go. Now it's going. So now we can see we can play the game just like normal. And we won. Right? Now we can play the game just like normal and we won again. We completely reworked the entire logic. We're using completely different type of logic now. We're not using mask logic, even though it is kind of a type of mask logic. Instead, we were originally using another second string, but I just changed that here to an array real quick so I could avoid the error I was having. But this is essentially the same thing. So instead of us having a mask and manipulating it, we're slowly changing the revealed word right here, and we're slowly putting the real word, the selected word, inside of revealed word. All right, and we're just doing our logic based off of if there's any underscores in the word, then they didn't win the game, and if there's no more underscores in the word, they did win the game. All right, this is another way you can go about it. There's lots of different ways you can go about making this game and having it work correctly. Again, it's like a canvas. You know, I give you some paint, tell you to paint a picture. Everyone's going to paint the picture differently. There's no wrong way to paint a picture. If I draw a house like this, is that a house? Yes. If I showed it to anyone, would they say that's a house? Most likely, yes, they're going to say that is a house, especially if I take 2 seconds to put a door here. Is this house pretty? Hey, art is in the eye of the beholder, right? All right? This might be a fucking Picasso for abstract artists. I don't know. This is a house, though. It doesn't matter if it's good looking or not. It is a house. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Same thing with programming. There's a million ways to go about doing something. There is no wrong way. There's just better ways. All right? This house is not a wrong house. This is a house. There are better looking houses out there by other artists. But that doesn't make mine not a house. It just makes mine a worse house compared relatively to theirs. But it's still a house at the end of the day. And that's all that matters. Does that make sense, Kamal? Also, okay, you used both yesterday, so I got kind of confused on what to do. Lol. Yeah, I'm just showing you all the different ways you can go about using it. But it's up to you on what you want to use. Personally, I use the dot. I recommend the dot. For the get add, that is. So when we do get add, that's what we're talking about. You can do an asterisk or a dot. I prefer the dot because I swear, maybe I'm just delirious, but I swear the dot gives you more. I also messed up a lot of stuff with the GitHub lesson yesterday. Should I set up a whole new repo and use it moving forward? Yeah, I went back using periods after trying asterisks. Sure, you can. We're going to make a new repo tomorrow for our word guessing game and add our word guessing game to it. So moving forward, you guys are going to get a lot of experience with Git. We're going to use it nonstop. So as long as you kind of started understanding what's going on with Git, understanding that it's a tool that we use, everything is synced up. So like your GitHub account is synced up to your local stuff and it works. You should be fine moving forward. All right, because we're going to go through the steps again tomorrow to add our word guessing game to a GitHub project. What other questions do you all got here? My best tip for the logic stuff is just think and try. If you don't know whether something will work or not, then try. Figure it out. Just try it out. See what works. See whether that logic is flawed or not if you put it in front of something, if you put it after something, if there's really a difference. Because some of these if blocks here, so we got one here, one here, one here. These three, technically, you could have them rearranged in any order and everything would work just fine. All right? All of these in different orders would work just fine. There's nothing important about the order of these three. This one is important though. If you had these three mixed up with this, if you had this one down like right here, or if you had it at the end, this is going to affect this logic and that will add new bugs. So this one's ordering is important. How do you figure that out? Logic. All right, because this comes to practice, but also just thinking about things. There's nothing inherently trying to trick you in this. It's just making sure you think about them thoroughly. For example, this is our user input. Our user input is very important for the rest of our game. So where should we put our logic, our step for checking user input? Well, most likely it's going to be best to have it right after we get our user input from the user. All right? Makes sense, right? There's nothing inherently trying to trick you about like logic and how things should go together. It's just making those connections, because it seems very like obvious when I say it like that, but for some people it's not, and that's fine. It's okay. You just gotta learn it, and that's why I also say for your logic, say it out loud, read it out loud. It helps you understand what is going on in the first place, and maybe you'll have a revelation when you are saying it out loud, like, maybe I should put this here instead of, down here. In GitHub desktop, Decisions decided to delete his messages. Never mind. I was gonna ask, read the question. So, go ahead and ask more questions. You guys got questions? I'm just waiting for some more to roll in right now. You guys have been asking some good fire questions so far, right? Good fire questions so far. Let's see here. We're going to be doing more side challenges for you guys moving forward. So while we're working and learning new concepts, you're going to have challenges on the side for you to make your own programs, all right? Your own programs at your own pace. Now, if you want, there's a extremely popular piece of software out there, all right? Extremely popular. It's called Scratch, right? It's called Scratch. It's used usually for kids learning programming for the first time. But it doesn't matter if it's just for kids, it's also great for adults. It's great for literally anyone getting into programming. When you go to their site and click on the Create section, you're going to, there's going to be some videos and stuff. I'm going to get rid of it. This is going to be your programming interface. So effectively, this right here is your game. This cat over here on the side is the game. You're making a video game, basically. What we've been doing, except we don't have pretty pictures because pretty pictures add more cancer to everything. But this one has you using a pretty picture at first, which is great, but also I don't like because it's unrealistic. You in the programming world will not get pretty pictures. This is not a thing you will have for 99% of your job. Even if you're a video game dev, you will not have pretty pictures. Video game devs do, contrary to popular belief, do not see very many pretty things while they dev video games. That's what graphic artists do and animators do. They're not programming though. So if you look here, you're going to see stuff in, like, for example, this control section, await, an if statement, a repeat until, a forever. A forever should sound good. It should sound familiar because this is a while loop. All right. Repeat until is a for loop. Repeat, or also it could be a while loop depending on how you use it. Repeat 10 is also a for loop. So they use effectively the exact same things. By effectively the same things, I mean they do the exact same things that are available in programming, but it's in more of a pretty picture-esque sense. So you can go ahead and mess around with this if you want, to help kind of solidify some of the concepts if you'd prefer. I prefer taking people straight into programming because we get rid of a lot of the hand-holdy stuff that's going on. And also we're removing that expectation of there's going to be some type of visual feedback immediately. There's a reason why web development is the most, okay, there's a couple reasons why web development is the most popular career path in devs. It's not because it's the most in demand. It is in demand, but it's a very oversaturated market. It's the most popular one because it's very visually feedback oriented. When you do something in web development, you'll usually see a pretty picture pop up or some type of correlation to your programming to the pretty pictures. That's not how it is in most of the software development world. Now, web development will continue to become more and more popular because everything is moving from software that's downloaded and installed on your computer to web-based applications, because web-based applications conveniently are write once, work everywhere. Everything you're doing right now here with Python will only work on computers that have Python installed, which is most people don't have Python installed on their computer by default. Additionally, it only works on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. This is not going to work on a mobile device. You can't make a mobile game with Python. So it's really convenient when you can just make something in JavaScript for like a website and it works as a website, which works in any browser, which is literally anything. But also there's now software or technologies out there where you can export it as a mobile app also. So that's very convenient. So that is also another reason why it's very popular. Let's see. Yeah, figured I can try a few things. No big deal. Are you sure? This is the day you can ask your questions. All right, I'm here for answering all of your questions. Most of the steps were easy to follow, but I think troubleshooting of issues that came up was the hardest to navigate. Yes. Sadly, I've said it before, but sadly it only gets worse. The issues and error messages that you get as you get further and you start doing more technical things and more challenging stuff, the errors will only get worse. All right, the errors will only get worse. It's just going to be about how well you can Google things, because typically most of your errors and answers will come up in Google. User input will equal guess a character if the character they input is part of the selected word, then print yep is. So it says user input is equal to guess a character. If that character is in the selected word, press yep. Yep, that will work 100%. The only thing is you have no enforcement. So if we look right here, there is no, this will work 100%. There is just no enforcement of this character. So I can now in your program here type in a number, or I could type in multiple characters. And if I type in multiple characters, that would technically potentially be a bug for your program. So you gotta do user input sanitation also. If the character they input is part, yeah, and you're getting every character that's a part of the selected word, but you're not doing any comparison either for the user input. So you gotta write some logic in here to see if the char and the user input also equal each other. Because again, just in case we're getting confused, let's go over to our loops section here. Sanitation means cleaning. Sanitation is what we're already doing. We're doing it right here with this. So it's filtering bad input. Sanitation is just cleaning out all bad input, all right? You got to be a sanitation worker also as a programmer. So this depends on various degrees of how much sanitation you want, but we know we want a single character. So this is our sanitation that we do right here for the characters that they enter. Because again, users should never be trusted. I don't think I've gone through this actually before, but I'm gonna say the spiel now. Users are the worst thing in the world. Users are the worst thing in the world. They will always try to break your shit. Not on purpose. Usually it will be accidentally. You will have the most beautiful code and it will work perfectly when you do it and when you test it, because you know what you're supposed to do. But right when you introduce a random new user, they will destroy it. All right, they will destroy it. You never ever trust users. They are out to destroy you, to end your life, your career, your everything. All right, they are the ultimate enemy, the ultimate bad guy in any show. All right, so you need to make sure at all times that whenever you allow the user to give you any type of input, you gotta check it. You have to check it, or else you're going to add potential exploits and bugs to your code. That's why other companies, like for example Apple, will heavily restrict you. They heavily restrict you for a reason, because users will do stupid things. So they give you the most minimal amount of options, and guess what? Their devices are beautiful. They're elegant. They feel great. There's very little anything you have to do because they just works all the time. Why does it just work all the time? Well, they got good devs, but not just that. They don't allow you to do anything on the phone compared to an Android phone. An Android phone lets you do pretty much anything you want. But with all those options comes a lot of extra bugs and potential exploits. So there's trade-offs. Trade-offs for everything. Decision is dabbing over here. Dabbing. So again, just to clarify for our for loop here, word equals my word word. All right, just to clarify here for loops, we're using for loops a lot in that program. I told you guys you're going to get a lot of experience. Again, for loops are just like while loops, except they do some smart logic for you. All right. All a for loop will take, again, is it takes some type of array or list. Some type of array, whether that's a list or a string. It takes it right here, and all you're doing here at the beginning is making a temporary new variable. All right, temporary new variable. For example, we're calling it X on this one, and you can see every character inside of that list or string is going to be printed out one at a time, because every loop is going to take the first item out of that list, out of that string, stuff it in this variable, and then do some logic on it. There is nothing inherently special about the word index or the word char or the word item or the word index or the word char here or the word char here. There's nothing special. There's nothing magical going on. It's just a logical name. It just makes sense to a dev when they look at it, like, what is this temporary variable going to have stuffed inside of it? It's going to have a character stuffed inside it. So we name it a char because that's just what's going to have into it. It's not because the word char itself is unique and will give us each character in here. No, it's just that this is a conveniently named variable to help give us clarity on what's going on. All right. And then enumerate, again, enumerate is a special thing that's going to give us an array with the index attached to every item. So if we put enumerate here and we reprint, you're going to see we're getting, I didn't do 2 words this time. I only did 1. When you do 1, you'll be given the array, all right, the list of 2 items. This is technically, the most proper term would be a tuple because it's parentheses around it. So that means it's a tuple. But this is doing the exact same thing. If we print X, we'll see both items. But since this is also a list, tuples are treated just like lists. We could get the first item out of it. And we got 0 through 9. We could also print and get the second item out of it, which we get now the numbers and the letters. We could also unpack the array right here. Instead of having to say X of 0 or X of 1, we could unpack it right here and say, how do we know how to unpack it, or what is first and what is second? Well, when we print out X, we can see the index number is first and the letter is next. So we could say right here, index, index, and then char. And now when we rerun this, we'll get an error because X doesn't exist anymore. So now we can print out char. We don't need to name it char. We could name it the whole thing character, but again, I'm a dev. I don't want to type all that. I'm lazy. I'm conveniently writing index out for you guys like this, but usually you'll see it as this, as the shorthand word for index, because that's more convenient and it's less work than typing out. Also, sometimes people will just use C and I. They'll literally just not even take the effort to write the rest of that stuff. They'll just call it C and I. C being character and I being the index. And it all works exactly the same. And this is how you unpack. You need to make sure this matches as many items that are inside of this, inside of the list. If you don't have that many, so if I remove the enumerate, so now we don't have the index anymore, and I try to run this, you'll see an unpack error is going to come up. Not enough values to unpack, because this is called unpacking. All right, because everything's bundled together in a list, and we're unpacking it and putting it to individual variables. But now we're getting this error. It says that we got an unpack error. It expected 2 and got 1. What does that mean? Expected 2. We have 2 variables here that want to get a value assigned to them. All right, 2 variables here that want a value assigned to them, but we're only getting 1 value. So that's the error. We have 2 variables waiting for information, but we only have 1 piece of data, which is the individual character. So just so you guys know, that's a common error you may come across. And it happens vice versa. So let's say I just want the character, but for example, I don't think I can I do it like that? Would this work? Let me see. Because the unpack can also happen the other way around. So let me do array of 1, 2, and 3. Let me see if this one will cause it. Yep, there we go. So now this is the reverse error. So too many values to unpack. What does that mean? We want 2 variables. We have 2 variables here that are made to take on some new data. But inside of this word here, we have 3 values that are being sent out at the exact same time when you're unpacking things. So that's why it says it expected 2, but there's too many values to unpack. It doesn't really tell you how many there are that it's trying to unpack, so you would have to do some debugging yourself to figure out there's 3 here. But that's also another issue. That's why it's best to sometimes just do 1, because 1 will always work, and the exact value or amount of numbers that you want to unpack are the only 2 options you have here. So if we run it with just 1, you'll see we get all of them together. And if we want them all uniquely, we have to unpack all 3 at the same time. Oops. All right, what other questions you guys got? What other questions you guys got? Some of you all missing the Super Bowl right now, or you just don't care about it? I'm not into who's playing right now, right? I might catch the tail end of it after this. See the Eagles win, of course. But but if it ain't the Seahawks or the 49ers, I'm out. I'm out. What other questions y'all got? Again, we go as long as you guys have questions today. So if there's no more questions, we'll wrap up and pull our winner from last week's giveaway and chug along. And to get them on the same line would be not 2 equal signs, just 1 equal sign. Because remember, this is where's my print at? This print right here, this end is a very special type of variable. Very special type of variable that you can make inside of the print statement. And since it's a new variable we're making and we're assigning, we use 1 equal sign. Because 1 equal sign is the assignment operator. That's for saving data. 2 is the comparison operator. That's for comparing whether something is true or false. So, going to ask any other last minute questions y'all have. So for tomorrow I think we're going to talk about functions. We're going to make our own custom functions from scratch. It's going to be fun. What are functions? You've been using them. Come on, you should know what functions are. Print is a function. Input is a function. Is alpha is a function. I don't care if you want to correct me and say it's a method in chat. You can go fuck yourself. It's a function. This is a function. This is a function. Everything with the parentheses that you've seen so far have been functions. All right. And so we're going to show you guys how you can make those. All right. How you guys can make those. And how they can be extremely, extremely useful for two reasons. One, keeping your code dry. But two, for organization. All right. For organization, making things look a little simpler. All right. Less complex. Also, so you guys see that I'm not lying to you when I say that you guys have learned pretty much all of the basic tools, the building blocks of programming. Let's go to a more complex program like the AI aimbot. The AI aimbot has a lot more stuff going on in it besides what we're doing here. But you've kind of seen these things before. You've seen import. You should know what import does, at least. That's for adding new functionality to our code. All right, adding new functionality to our code. So this should make sense. There's something here with for and an import. Not sure what that is, but we'll get into that later on. Don't worry about it. This we'll learn what it is tomorrow, so don't worry about that. Variables. Should be very familiar with variables now. So nothing too complex so far, all right? Variables with strings, numbers, floating point values, Boolean, trues and falses. Nothing too out there yet. Try and accept. We haven't learned about that yet, but don't worry, we'll get into it. But we have seen variables been made before. We know how to go through an array. So this must be an array since we're using those brackets. And we're saying 0, so this means that we must be getting the first item in the array. This is something that's doing some special function. I'm guessing by reading it, it's going to get windows with a title. So with what title? The video game window title. I'm guessing. I don't know, but it looks like a function. So let's move forward here. We've seen prints before. We've seen exit, so that will forcefully exit the program. All right. We've seen format. All right. Nothing too fancy. We've seen dictionaries. We haven't messed with dictionaries too much, but we can see dictionaries are going on here. All right. Looks like more variables are being made here. There's some addition that's going on. May or may not be clear on what this is going on, but you can see looks like there's math happening here. So we'll just scroll past that quickly. We don't want to look at math. More functions being ran, an if statement that's being done, more functions being ran, more variables being created, more functions being ran. This is a cool thing I guess we should show in Python. This is actually pretty neat. More functions being ran, a while loop, we've seen that. A while loop inside of a while loop. That must be something elite. I don't know. Or maybe it's just something really stupid. There's only one way to find out. But the point is, you can see here's a for loop with some if statements in it, with some for loops, if statements, some if else statements, if else statements. You guys have pretty much learned all of the basic tools. That's the main point here. There's nothing really new here that's happening besides the try and accept. You've learned pretty much everything else that's being done here. Now, these functions that are being done may not make any sense to you right now. That's fine. That's additional learning you do for your job. All right, because we're teaching you the basic tool sets and some additional extensions to the language, but depending on what you want to do, like video game development or machine learning or whatever it is, there's extra tooling that you'll learn on your job. There's extra like specifics you'll learn on your job, which would be these. But these work just like all other functions we've showed. Use parentheses, and then inside those parentheses, you give it some type of data, and it's going to run and do some type of magic for you. All right? But yeah, my main point is we got basically all the basic tools down. Now it's just about practicing, repetition, stitching these things together, and making some magic happen. Any questions on that? Also, why comments can be extremely useful. You can kind of see and understand what's going on here. All right. All right, I don't see any other questions here. If there are no other questions, we're going to poll the winner and we're going to call it good for today. Again, tomorrow we're going to learn about functions, how to create functions, what even are functions behind the scenes. Because we know they do something magical. We tell them print and then they do a printing on the screen, or we tell them format, or we tell them enumerate. Like, what is actually happening behind the scenes? We have no clue, but we know this is something we can do and it will just magically work. So we're going to show how they are actually working and how you can make your own and add it. And now that you're making your own, how that leads into you potentially putting it up on GitHub and making it something people can import in their code. Because maybe you want to make some useful functions, like a function that will print all Pokemon that exist in the Pokemon universe right now. Some people want that. I know I've needed that sometimes. So I've gone researching for it and found repos that are using it and use that logic. There's no tool that's too small. There's always something that someone needs, no matter how silly it may sound. But that's where things become really, really powerful, right? When we get to make our own custom tools using functions. All right. Is this like a daily tutorial live stream? Yes, for 100 days. We're a nonprofit here based in the US of A. We're actually about to do our giveaway right now. So we're a nonprofit based here in the US of A, and we have certifications that are complete replacement for computer science degrees. So you can come get our cert. We're teaching for 100 days straight, everything you need to know for our cert. We're streaming on Twitch and YouTube. So all of our previous days are recorded on YouTube, so you can check them out there and get our cert. And then we will help you get a job immediately upon getting our cert. All right. So we got our week 3 giveaway, or 7 giveaway. Let's go ahead and pull, sorry, week 6 giveaway. We got to pull our winner here. So let me go ahead and, I gotta do it on this tab. Let me pull this off screen so I can log in. Oh, thanks for the follow tip, Star. So let's go ahead and log in here. And let's do our giveaway, shall we? Come on, log in. What do you mean no results? How is it going to disappear? I was just on it. There we go. All right. Wait, what the hell is going on? This site is bugging out right now. It's pissing me off. Log me in. I swear to God. One day I'll get into the site. There we go. Holy crap. All right, let's do our poll here. So again, we're doing raffle. We use RafflePress, so it is random. I'm not over here doing any magic. I just can't show it because I don't think people want their info being shown off. Let me go and put that like there. All right, so we gotta poll our winners here for week 6, and Evan, you have won. Evan, you have won. I swear, didn't you win last time? Or one of the times before? You've won again. Congratulations, Evan. You have won. I'm pretty sure you've won before. Regardless, you've won again now. What was this one for again? I think this was for another sweater, right? So if you guys haven't already, make sure you go to our site, go over to blog, and fill out the week 6 or 7 giveaway is live right now. Mystery item this week. Mystery item. Who knows what it will be or what it won't be. All right. Week 6, which what we just pulled right now, is for the... Okay, it is for a sweater. So, Evan, you are going to receive a sweater. I think... Did you win a t-shirt last time? I can't remember now. Also, the stuff from the last week also has not been sent out yet. We had some issues. Bank issues. Basically, we couldn't fund our stamps.com account. So we're waiting on some transfers to go through, but they should be done tomorrow. I'm hoping they'll be done tomorrow. But if they're done tomorrow, then we should be good. Yeah, that was a whole fun ordeal. We accrued a nice little sum of, I think it was like $200 in overdraft fees. So that was fun. That was really fun. I absolutely hate PNC. All right, we use PNC right now. We're about to move away from them. I hate them so much. Oh God, they give me absolute cancer. If you have PNC, please just leave. There's so many other better banks out there. All right, there's so many better banks out there. Ay. All right, so that's all I got for you guys today. If you have any questions, remember, join our Discord. Ask away in the 100 days of Rootkit Discord in here. Put any of your questions. Please keep continuing your assignment here. Or, sorry, that was a bad word. Your challenge, right? Keep continuing your challenge, all right? Keep chugging along on it because, again, the only way is repetition. Tomorrow we're going to tackle functions. And... yeah, we're just going to focus on functions tomorrow. It may be a lighter day, maybe not. We're just going to go on functions, and we're going to talk about a lot of things about functions. And you're going to be a functions pro. Did Code just type something? Yeah, he did. All right, sweet. I will see you guys on the next one. How do I end this? There we go. All right, I'll see you guys.